Hi, I'm Emma McKee, aka the Stitch GAWD. Well, the first piece of press I ever got was in a magazine called The Fader, and the reporter in The Fader was laughing that I was kind of like a Stitch GAWD, and she put it in print, and from then on out, it was Stitch GAWD. My favorite jacket, there are so many. I think SZA's jacket is one of my favorites. We actually did 3 for her. I was a big fan, but 2 of the people I collaborate with were even bigger fans. So I designed my piece, and then I worked in collaboration with the 2 of them to design 2 other pieces. So she actually got 3, but I had to give people the chance to, do their thing. And then my other favorite jacket would probably be Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. I am a self-taught sewer, heavily influenced by a family full of cross-stitchers. I had never picked up a needle before age 27. And here we are, not 10 years later, Oh, the first thing I ever stitched was a present from my mom. I was very anti-cross-stitch. Never wanted anything to do with it. So to show my mom how much I love her, I decided to make her a cross-stitch sampler for Christmas, and the rest is history. Unwillingly. I unwillingly went from stitching to my mom to stitching for celebrities. I actually didn't talk about my embroidery very much. I was embarrassed of it. So I would carry around my pieces with me and show people. And I was always hanging around artists, and eventually some of these artists asked me if they could have pieces. So I started making them. Fashion was not always part of my thing. Even now, I'm obviously in the realm of fashion, but I don't know that I consider myself someone who's passionate about fashion. I am passionate about people, and I am passionate about art, and I am passionate about putting things on people that make them feel themselves, but I don't know that that's fashion. Well, I don't know if there's a disconnect with the fashion industry because I've never gone knocking at the door. I think that I am, because of the nature of who I am, a part of it, but I don't seek inclusion in that. You know what I mean? That's not, being a part of fashion isn't so much important to me as being a really fine artist and doing good work and helping people connect to themselves, if that makes sense. Okay, so I say it's never an L, it's always a lesson. You never lose, you just always learn. I'm actually really fortunate. I've only had 2 cross-stitch pieces not work out for me. I know exactly what they are. They're in a drawer. I look at them sometimes and I think about them. One was, I was a little ambitious. I was sewing, Save Money Army is a Chicago hip-hop collective, and I was doing like a badge or a crest, but I did it on some busy fabric, and then I got mad at doing it on the busy fabric, and then I tried to rip out the fabric. It actually looks pretty cool. People like it. It's just not how I envisioned it, so I can't have, But I never really consider it a failure. You know what I mean? It taught me things, and it led me to other things, and it made my subsequent pieces better. Well, I recently had the opportunity on the 25th anniversary of the WNBA. They came to me and they asked me to make 25 jackets for the best women's basketball players of all time. And I had 4 weeks to do it, and they ruled. And I am so proud of myself and my team. I usually make like 4 jackets a year, and we made 25 in 4 weeks, and they actually were awesome. And the WNBA said that it was the only time they've done something for a group of the women players and not a single one had a complaint. They said that's never happened. But with my jackets, no complaints. So I was making things for people who really inspired me, but oftentimes, it's kind of a funny thing to go up to someone and be like, hey, I've spent all this time making you something, could you please give me your money now? Which I understand is how most things work, but it's uninteresting to me. It creates an unnecessary power dynamic. It assumes a lot about me and my skill. And I found it much more interesting to trade people for their time and their art. You can get the same dollar from anywhere, and money is abundant and readily available if you know how to look for it. But you can get the same dollar bill from anybody, but you cannot get the same time, art, thought, I find, and I've made some great trades. I have some really amazing original art. I have hard drives full of music. I have poetry. I have portraits. I have a wealth of experiences and things that I'll never forget that honestly are worth much more to me than money. And so while I still need to make a living, and I take commissions sometimes, big ones, but mostly so that I can still keep funding the jackets as they are. I really like the idea of trading, and it always catches people off guard, and it really opens people up and makes them vulnerable and more willing to share with you, instead of just the cold exchange of money. It's yeah, it's one of my favorite things. Oh, I've thought about it before. If I had to do a cross-stitch thing for Junk Kouture, I'd want to do, I would have to find something latticed with holes in it, and then I would either, cross-stitch is so elemental. It's just like a stitch and another stitch. You can use almost anything for it. I mean, chain link fences, you could make a textile out of them. You can, I always think about plastic, long things of plastic, using that to cross-stitch. I think that could be really cool, and making it into a textile. I don't know, I think there's, the gears have been turning since I started working with Junk Kouture. I've been thinking about it, actually. So it depends on the junk to get the couture. Oh, what are 3 things I want to see walk down the Junk Kouture runway? I want to see inspired vision. I want to see unusual use of materials. And I want to see passion. What advice would I give for somebody who wants to create? Create. Just do it. There's a funny thing about fear in the creative process, and we oftentimes allow fear to stop us right here because we can't possibly. But what's right beyond that is the doing of it. And fear it's a funny emotion because it lies right next to all these other great things. And if we can push through the fear that we have and walk with it, then you're actually unstoppable. It is just about doing, and it gets way less scary the more you practice that. Right, there are other people, but Rihanna's at the top of my list. I always say my skill level isn't there yet, so the second that I'm skilled up for Rihanna, she's getting something crazy. I would probably raid Melody Asani's closet. I bet she has a crazy closet. I bet she has great vintage rock and roll t-shirts from being married to Flea. I don't know. I don't really ever my fashion sense is so mine that I'm not really jealous of anybody else's closet. I love my own. I've invested in my own for years and years, I think hope for the future. That's what I think when I hear sustainability. Oh man, school is such a weird place, and especially today. I mean, no, obviously not. It's been that way forever. The first programs that get cut are arts programs. The first kids that get left behind are the ones who are a little bit weird, creative, No, I don't think that they get to do, I don't think creative kids are taken care of enough in especially the American school system. Junk Kouture is so important, especially here and especially now. I mean, for a multitude of reasons. There's a crisis in education in the United States. We don't provide resources for our young people, and there unfortunately need to be stopgaps to provide those kind of creative opportunities. Creative opportunities help people develop, at humanity. And the fact that we're not providing our kids with this is just mind-boggling. So it's really important to have programs like Junk Kouture come in and act as an outlet. Oh man, jump right in, bite off more than you can chew, and work really hard. Stoked. I feel stoked to be a part of the first Junk Kouture North America. I'm so excited. My fashion icon. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my fashion icon. Riri. The last 4 questions, Rihanna. Just when in doubt, Stitch God says Rihanna.